What is going on, everybody? We are back on it. One Piece 516. We got the reveal of what the message was that Luffy was trying to convey. I'm curious, and B, for real, did, when you guys watched this for the first time, or read it for the first time, however you consumed this arc for the first time, did you pick up on what the message was when all the characters, when all the crewmates started to go, aha, that's what it is, I see? Like, did you were like, oh yeah, I get it, or I'm very curious. Because I tried to analyze it and I saw the tattoo on his arm. I was like, ooh, Ace had a tattoo on his arm. What did it mean with that and this? But I didn't have. So I'm just curious if it was that obvious or not. But they are going to, so, you know, they've been planning to meet back up, right? And they have, Luffy has made the decision to delay it by 2 years. Why 2 years is the magical number? I have no idea. You know, why didn't we settle on 3 years, 5 years, 2 months, a year? I don't know why 2 is the number. I don't know if in flashbacks we'll see that Rayleigh maybe suggested something and he maybe theorized that for me to teach you this or for you to gain the strength or whatever it would take, you know, on an estimate of 2 years. I don't know where that number came from, but regardless, everybody's going to meet back up in 2 years. And it wasn't conveyed by like Luffy directly in the message, at least to my understanding, but everybody seemed to have I don't know if everybody, but majority of everybody took it as, I've got to become stronger. A lot of people took it as, you know, I've got to become more useful to the crew, more useful to Luffy. But like Chopper, Zoro, Sanji, you know, they took it as like, I've got to become stronger. And by stronger, I mean be able to throw hands. Like, they've got to become stronger. They don't want what happened. Like, they were useless. Like, way down on the totem pole. They've always won. They always win, and they always keep winning. They always come out on top. Luffy and the crew always prevails. And it's just been a spiral effect of them losing. And losing so much that Luffy wasn't even able to do anything while his brother was killed in front of his face. And it's not even just like, oh man, Luffy couldn't stop one of the admirals. You know, that's rough. And then it's like, it's hard to hold that against him. He couldn't throw hands with some of the captains, or maybe all of the captains out there. Like, the man was so low on the world scale totem pole that like, it's laughable. Like, he's getting beat by incomplete Sage of Six Path users. Like, that's how bad it was. So I'm curious to see how the story goes. Now, I'm assuming that, because I've heard since before I started One Piece, I don't think it's a spoiler, but that there's a time skip. You know, kind of like how Naruto had a time skip. If you haven't seen Naruto, spoilers. There's like the end of Shippuden, or no, there's the end of Naruto, and then Shippuden starts. And there's that time period where we don't see Naruto and he comes back around, and they, as we go through Shippuden in those first couple episodes, we ping pong back and forth between like what happened in that time, the training you got during that time, the battle, or the things, just anything, you know, slice of life that may have happened in that time. You see him training with Jiraiya and what happened with this and XYZ and Gaara becoming Hokage and yada yada yada. So I'm assuming that One Piece is going to do the same thing. I personally don't like that type of storytelling in a story, to where we are with a certain group or a certain person, we time skip forward. Person or people that we've been following are clearly significantly stronger, and then of course they're going to show us how they become stronger, but the way that they show us how they become stronger is they ping pong back and forth to the gap of time that we skipped. So like Luffy might bust out like Gear 6 or whatever, Sanji busts out a new technique, or Chopper learns how to do this. It's like, holy shit, look at what Chopper's able to do, or look at what Usopp's able to do. How the hell did he learn that? And you as a viewer, you don't know, and the story's gonna be like, oh, let me show you. So then we'll spend X amount of episodes or whatever flashing back to 2 years ago or 6 months ago or whenever, and then they'll show you how Chopper learned to do this technique, or what Luffy had to go through to get to this level, or how so-and-so unlocked their Haki, and yada yada, blah blah blah. I prefer to just go through that and then see the person use said ability. You know, I prefer to see like the Saiyans getting ready for the Cell games and then doing what you've got to do. Granted, you can say, you know, you didn't see what happened in the time chamber, yeah, blah blah blah. But I prefer the like seeing the characters get ready for said event, said moment, said tournament, and then said tournament coming. So we say like, oh, that's what they were doing during training, and we see it come to fruition. Now you could say it's the same thing. I just don't prefer like seeing somebody bust out these crazy hacks and abilities and then going back and then showing me how they did. But I'm assuming that's what One Piece is going to go with. But hey, maybe the storytelling that they do with it ends up being pretty great. I mean, it's interesting from a lot of standpoints of like, especially Mihawk, for example, because you know this kid wants to face you one day. Does that give you the itch? Like, are you fully training Zoro to his full potential? Or does part of you never want to have him beat you? I'm curious if he would hold anything back. So there's just a lot that goes with it. I don't know if we're going to be time skipping in this. And then I'm curious, when we do time skip forward, is the crew instantly just going to somehow merge back together within 5 episodes of the time skip like that quickly? Or how are they going to build on this? I don't know. There's a lot. But let's see what we got. My man just call his Uber black? He did. Where are you going? There's still a whole Fishman storyline that I have interest in. And I'm curious when that's going to show up. What the hell? Luffy would be dead. Luffy would have never made it. Yeah, he never would have made it there in the first place. Luffy would be dead multiple times over if not for Jinbei, by the way. Multiple times over. So hats off to you, buddy. Where are you going now? Man's got a massive wanted bounty on his head. Fishman Island in 2 years. I'm interested in that storyline. I need Fishman info. Where the hell were you guys when we needed you most? Oh my god. And this is what I'm saying about Boa. I mean Nico Robin's twin sister. I mean Nico Robin with a tan. It's so wild to think that like, and we never really see her in action, but she's pretty strong, right? We all know that just from her Haki level alone. But it's hard to take her serious when this is what they've reduced her to. Like, this is her now. This is just the running gag. Like, does it ever end? Yeah. Is Luffy going to spend his 2 years on Amazon Lily? That'd actually be pretty great because you have Rayleigh there who, I mean, who could ask for a better teacher? But you also have Boa there that has the same level of Haki that maybe if Rayleigh can't relay how to use and do things, this chick can. And you can see it in action. I wonder if Boa will be involved in our training at all. Probably. Where's she going? And I'm also curious, like, this running gag they have with her. Do you think this, what they choose to do with her, right? I'm curious if they go the complete opposite ever in this. Like, does she just does she wake up one day and just completely thinks the complete 180? Like, she wants nothing to do with him, ends up hating him. Curious if she's like, I have no interest in Luffy anymore. What happens to him? Like, seriously does, though. Not his nose. That is true. This man, Luffy, rolls around with a personal chef, by the way, calls himself a pirate. Oh god. This is nothing different than when he was a kid growing up. I'm wondering what Rayleigh gets out of this. Other than like, yeah, it's not my time, and like I'm an old man. It's time for the new generations, the supernovas. It's the new wave, the new era can go find the One Piece. But why does he feel so indebted that he has to be the one holding Luffy's hand through this? I wonder why he feels like he has to take Luffy through this day to day. And if not for him, who would it be? Of course, the story makes it so that it's Rayleigh. But I'm curious, who else could be a qualified candidate to take Luffy through this right now? I feel like it'd have to be someone we haven't ran into, unless Shanks took it upon himself, which I could see that. Or Garp, I could see that as well. For differing reasons why it could be Shank, why it could be Garp. Garp because he feels bad of what happened to Ace and doesn't want it to happen to Luffy. Couldn't stomach it happening to Luffy. Couldn't go face Dodon or any of them again if something was to happen to Luffy, so he takes it upon himself to teach him Haki and everything that comes with it. And I can see Shanks doing it just because he feels like, if I don't do this, or if I'm not with Luffy right now, what will happen to Luffy in his mental? There's nobody else. And so it never happens to him again. Let me make him stronger. 500 things that he can't throw hands with? Has he been here? Have you been here before, sir? Oh, here we go. He's got the observation one. Was he able to deduce that from his observation? I don't know. Luffy has finally said the words Haki. Holy shit. Here we go. We're finally about to get Luffy and his Nen teacher. Everybody has it. Okay. It's like a chakra. Like everybody has access to chakra. Everyone has access to ki. Senses that normal humans have. Okay, anybody can have access to it. So Nami, Usopp, you hear this? You hear this? You too have potential. That sound effect on second gear was kind of... Oh my god. Is he still even healed? I feel like there has not been a lot of time that's passed. Imagine when he puts the Haki with his gears. Oh my god. Too prominent, okay? The mantra. Isn't that so crazy that we got introduced to Haki that early in the story with the one, the only? The one, the only, Enru himself, the greatest thing this side of Sky Pia. Now, that's gotta be... Yeah, just like the girls did. That's only good... Oh my god, they showed him! That's only... Holy shit. He even name-dropped Mantra and Skypiea. I wonder if they did that for viewers' thing. Oh, he can just eat blows. He's just gonna eat it. Oh, bitch. This is like, I forget Gon and Killua's wing. Ooh. This is like Wing Sun. teaching us about all the Nen things. It's very confusing and it's hard to consume all of the Ren, Ten, Nen all at once, but we'll get it in time. We've got like 700 episodes now. Ooh, the only effective counter move against Devil's Fruit Eaters. That's you, buddy. And others. Mm-hmm. So that's how he's been able to make contact. On Smoker. Uh-huh. But that's such a bold risk to take as a Logia type user, because how do you know if somebody knows? Is that something you'd feel? Observation Haki. Armament? Am I pronouncing that right? Yeah, that's you, buddy. That's you, that's you, that's you. How many conqueror level people do we have in the world? 10 or less? Curious. We've already got introduced to 4, no? Maybe even 5? Luffy, Boa, Rayleigh, Whitebeard. Is Shanks included in that as well? Man just has aura like that. Literally just straight aura. Man walks into a room and people just pass out. Because I think we've got introduced to 5. I mean, they're probably more than 10 with the characters we have to be introduced to. That's actually pretty wild though. I can't believe they name dropped Enru and Skypiea like that. And I'm guessing, who knows where Rayleigh's been in his time with Whitebeard and... I mean, not Whitebeard. Gold Roger. They've probably Skypiea down here, over here, left, right, down. Spent time up there. He even knew what they called it up there. It's crazy as fuck. That's wild as hell. Ooh. The biggest name. I thought he was about to give us those names. You can control it but can't train yourself to use it? Correct. Wait, so he just has to become overall stronger? Like just your physical body has to become stronger? But like where does that cap, where's the cap on that? To whatever you can physically take your body to, just from what? A strength, an endurance, a mental standpoint? Like where does... it sounds limit. It could be limitless or it could be capped, I guess. He says you can control it, but you can't train it. Man, just give us a crash course right there to chakra. I don't know if we've ever seen him this actually focused. Uh-huh. Enru. Did he name drop that painting chick that we still don't even know how she does what she do? What's the story on her, guys? Is she just a random anomaly that's not Devil's Fruit related? That was crazy. Oh, so you can have access to all 3 types. Ah, most people lean towards one. I was just about to... I didn't know you could have access to all of them. I did not know that. I thought it was like a Nen affinity. Like whatever you... If you're an enhancer or a manipulator, like that's what you're at. I didn't know you could. Interesting. This is... I'm getting a vibe of like Rayleigh being killed in front of us now. Oh shit. This is the first like real teacher we've had. Student-teacher relationship. Leave the hat. Nice. Put it down for a second. Solid. Why does that look like a big white carrot, by the way? Him leaving the hat behind is kind of cool. Because we know he, like, never does. And we'll go to lengths to get it back. Just show me that Sabo is out there working with Dragon and get it over with. We know he's out there. I'm waiting for them to show him... show Naruto getting the news of what happened to Ace. I think he's the only one that we know that had a connection to Ace that we haven't seen their reaction yet. We've seen Garp, we've seen Luffy, we've seen Jinbei, we've seen Dodon and the bandits. We have not seen him. I mean, technically, to the viewer, he still might not be alive, but kid's alive, let's be real. Stick it in the hat. This is a big, like... this is a big teaching job Rayleigh's taking. I don't think he has, like, an ulterior motive. But I'm wondering why he's gonna go this far for us. Leave the sandals behind too, bro. We need to get you some actual shoes. Oh shit, they're hitting me with the music. Is the episode about to end? It is. Okay, they're definitely time skipping after this episode. This is... I see it. I see it now. Professor Rayleigh, Master Rayleigh. Like, he leaves behind the hat. They're playing the soundtrack, the opening. Yeah, this is definitely like... this is One Piece Part 1, ending. Probably gonna have to mute this. Probably should mute it. Let's be real with ourselves. Oh, and they're showing flashbacks? Yeah. Definitely. I'm gonna lower it. I haven't heard this in a while. And see, they've gone out of their way to give it updated animation too. Nice. This is actually the only One Piece song I know. I think this is the only one I actually ended up listening to. All the other ones I've skipped. I don't like watching openings because the channel gets copyrighted. No matter if it's Yu Yu Hakusho, One Piece, Jujutsu, My Hero, it gets copyrighted. But I don't like seeing... because what do openings in animes always show? Bad guys, fights, villains, people will run into. I feel like it kind of kills, it kills the story a little bit, because I'm like, oh, I saw Sanji fighting that person in the opening, so I know that that person's a bad guy, and that's somebody Sanji's going to run into. Or, oh, I saw Luffy doing this, that means he's going to unlock this. Like, I feel like a lot of openings for stories spoil so many things. I just don't like checking them out, ever. Still going? Oh, it is. I wonder if it'll have a quote-unquote after credit. I also want to go back to him talking about the 3 parts. Ooh, now to be... ooh, nope, you're not going to get me with that shit. Alright, let me go back here. He was really giving us the breakdown here. So, because we know that, like, anytime somebody goes to hit Luffy, like, it doesn't affect them, right? And he was saying this is more for, like, to hit Logia types, or the people that are, like, seem intangible. but it can work either way. What was even the name of it? Let me see what he said. It's crazy how much stronger everybody is that we ran into. If the armor is hard enough, it can be used as an offensive power. I'm a rubber man, so I shouldn't feel pain. Other than exploiting their weakness... Okay. Other than exploiting their weak point... Armament? Are we pronouncing that correctly? The only effective counter move against Devil's Fruit. Okay, so if you don't know this... If you don't have this one down of the 3... You... Not true. Not true. I was about to say you will never beat a Logia, but Luffy did defeat 2 Logias, and he didn't know this. But if we're being honest, Luffy died the first time. And Enru was just out of place. But he actually, I feel like he lost to Enru too. Enru just I don't know, that's a whole other discussion, but essentially, let's just, I say for a broad statement, if you want a chance to defeat a Logia user and there's not some fine print way around it, you need to know this part, the armament. Logia type Devil's Fruit Eaters seem almost invincible because of their fluid body. And so this is what I said here. If you're somebody that's like Kizaru or Smoker or Okaji, how do you know when somebody might know that and when they don't? Because you would think, let me never take the chance. Because remember how Whitebeard was like stabbing through Okaji, and I'm sure he knows it and had things embedded with Haki. You have to almost make yourself fluid before, just in case they do know it. Like, you're actually going to sustain damage if you don't. Now, you could take a punch or a hit for sure, but if someone's coming at a blade at you like Whitebeard did, you've kind of got to already have yourself prepped for that, no? You could transfer the power to your weapon. Okay. Oh. We just lost episode juice there. Conquerors. The power to intimidate your enemy. The biggest names also have this. And then he says, you can control it, but you can't train yourself to use it. So what does it... I'm sure we'll find out. What does it grant you? Because the only time we've seen it is in use to intimidate others. I don't think we've seen anybody like use Conqueror's Haki to do X, Y, Z. We've just seen it to like rage flex or make people faint or pass out. But surely it grants you more than that, because when you start getting to some of these heavy hitters, they're not going to be affected by that. So what does the Conqueror's... And you can't train it. You can control it, but you can't train it. It's the spirit. You can enhance it. Okay. Okay. And he goes out here and name drops. He just goes over here and rips off names. Shanks, Grandpa. So I'm guessing that's, he was using the Amarment to hit him when he ran into him for the first time. Enru had Mantra. I don't know if he had any others. But I would, but it's hard to tell. It's like I would assume that Enru wouldn't have others because if he did have a Conqueror's level Haki or something like that and was aware of it, he would have used it even when his lightning wasn't affecting Luffy. He still okay. So I don't need to use that anymore. I'll just use Haki. Like, okay, my lightning doesn't work on you. I can just use other forms of Haki, and he didn't. So I'm gonna assume. And who's to say that he even had the? And did we say observation is that the one that lets you like bob and weave and dodge and predict, or that's just a baseline of it? I gotta go back. I don't know. Oh yeah, Isa wasn't. I thought Isa was the. Isa had observation Haki, did she not? I thought Isa was the Miss 3 or Miss Golden Watch or whatever the hell her name was. Interesting. And then he said, let's go here. He says, presence, fighting spirit. I don't think this has anything to do with observation. He's just over here bobbing, weaving, bobbing. Oh, that is called observation. Okay. So the mantra is observation. And then so that was my question during that of, oh my god, I gotta go with that shot. I mean, there's tons of questions here. I'm not gonna grasp all of Haki and what it has to offer. I'm curious if there's still, where you guys are, Haki is still doing things that are like, holy shit, that have to be explained and things like that. My question with the observation and the mantra stuff, right? That can only take you, how does one get around that? Now we saw if you kind of like mentally, because that's the question I used to ask in Skypiea. It's like, oh, when they're not mentally locked in or focused, you know, they can get rattled. They're not as able to like lock it in. But then my follow-up question to that is like, if they always know what you're about to do, how do you ever actually rattle them? Because they're always a step ahead. It's like the chicken, or it's like what comes first? It's like, okay, their observation Haki or their mantra can be rattled if you rattle them. So my question is to like, okay, but how can I rattle them if they know what I'm going to do? Like, when do I ever get the opportunity to rattle them if they always know what I'm going to do? So that's a question with that. So then the question becomes, for these people that are like top of the top with their observation and their mantra, right? How do you ever get around that? How do you make them falter? Like, I'm sure we're going to see, because he said, you know, some people just find the one that they prefer and then they train that one up. So I'm sure we're going to see some like top observation Haki people. What must you do / what must you possess to a point that they cannot predict what you're going to do? I don't know, but I'm not going to sit here and ramble for an hour because there's a lot that Rayleigh dropped here that we could sit here and dissect and rewind and just really go in on. This is Power System 101 to like any show, whether it's chakra, Haki, ki, nen, curse energy, whatever you want it to be. When the info starts getting dropped, it's going to be a lot to consume, a lot to kind of comprehend and get over. But I'm just going to need to see it more in action, get used to more. So you see like this here. This is the type of stuff. These are the type of episodes and the things that I want to see. Like, I wouldn't mind us going through 2 years. Now, they don't have to go through one episode to get us like, okay, that's a day, that's another day until we go through 2 years. But I'd like to see us go through it rather than skip to the end, then take me through it. And then, oh shit, he did something new. Take me back to that. Put me back present timeline. Okay, take me back. How did they do that? And it's just this like ping pong back and forth of like new ability, come back, new ability, come back. I'd rather just see each, like, okay, next episode, 517. Take me over there with Zoro and Mihawk. Let me see him start to break some shit down, and then take me back over here, and then just like start going through time like that. Because if you give me episodes like that with each of the characters, that could be like, even with Usopp and Chopper, that could be decent stuff. But I'm assuming the way they just kind of gave us that big ending, showing all the characters, the opening soundtrack played, all that we are going to be skipping forward. So that was a solid episode. That was pretty great. Feel free to, I don't even know what all I brought up and what all I said, but feel free to leave questions, answer questions, break down some of that without it being spoiled, because I'm sure we'll go through. So there's 3 types. The armament, which allows you to touch the Logia type or the fluid type users, Luffy included. There's the observation Haki, which we've seen is pretty much just put your senses on steroids. You get a little bit of a foresight ability. You can sense the area, enemies, numbers of things, just observation in general. And the Conquerors, but I still don't know what the Conquerors does for you, aside from just being able to like flex and intimidate. Like what does it grant you in the moment of battle? You know? Unless we get more, is it that simple? Is it just those 3? Like there's only going to be 3 categories? And you would think, even though if somebody like, oh, he said, you know, usually people find one and just stick to one, but I'm going to teach you all 3. Why would you not? Well, the Conquerors, well, he said oh fuck, what did he say? I don't know, you guys let me know. Did he say that anybody can have access to Conquerors as well? I'm pretty sure you can. Because I was going to say, wouldn't you want to at least give yourself the ability to sense things? And you want to be able to make contact with Logia users. So why would I not at least have those other 2? And then shit, if I'm going to do the 2, I might as well do the 3. Because the world that you're in, like there's a lot of Logia users out here. So I feel like you want to have that at a baseline at least. So I don't know, there's a lot into it. I don't want to dive into it because I'm sure it's going to be really brought up here as we go through. But that's some good stuff. So we'll leave it there and see. Appreciate it, everybody. Like, share, favorite, subscribe, and as always,